Welcome to MELfeed.video. We are commencing a live web stream service via youtube.com from Echuca, Australia. We currently conduct these streams on Monday evenings, with other times to be added as more opportunities arise. Please visit our website MELfeed.video for further information. This web video project presents old and new community TV programs. Please enjoy your stay with MELfeed.video.
This repeat episode of NAT Chat Migration Stories is presented as a tribute to its host, Richard McAuliffe, who sadly passed away this last year.
Welcome viewers, thank you for tuning in today to Migration Stories, produced by Northern Access TV for the NAT Chat series. And my guest today is Kailan, originally from Cambodia. But you came via New Zealand.
Yes. Don't hold that against me.
Well, we shan't. You're from Cambodia and you're now in Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
But what was life like in Cambodia? You left very young, but can you tell us?
I was born in a refugee camp, so I didn't experience much
not
life
very
in
many
Cambodia.
memories, really. But of course, from your family, you would have heard stories.
Yes, many stories.
So the refugee camp, where was it located?
On the border of Cambodia and Thailand.
My goodness, not very long ago, hey?
Yes.
And with the terrible stories from that area, you know, you've carried the best of your culture to Australia. What Cambodian, what cultural aspects do you retain in your life?
There are many cultural aspects that I retained. Respect for my parents, it's a very important cultural aspect.
Indeed.
Although sometimes I might talk back to them, but that's a bit of Australianism.
Well, we need
out.
to perhaps import a bit of respect for elders to Australia.
My love of Cambodian food, I love Cambodian food. Although I have an Aussie husband, I still need to eat Cambodian food. And I love our costumes. I love wearing our national clothes and our traditional clothes, and I love our traditional dances. So there are a lot of things which I still carry to Australia.
And like your particular, ethnic background, I suppose, in Cambodia, because
there's the they call Kampuchea, which are ethnic Vietnamese living in Cambodia.
Okay.
And the Kampuchea Le, which are more the tribal mountain people with Chinese ethnicity.
All right. So what were the circumstances of you, getting out of the refugee camp? How did that happen?
Well, we had to escape. My family, I didn't personally escape myself, but my family went to Malaysia. We stayed at a few refugee camps there. There was one in Songo, BC, which was an island camp. And that's where many of my mum met many of her friends, and they're still friends here in Australia. So most of them are here now. So
Indeed.
they have a good meeting and chat about the old days and talk about how they would go and pick water lilies and grow things on the dirt and everything, and just very amazing stories of survival, which
incredible.
I suppose it instilled in me this very hard work ethic, because just to see what they had to go through, I suppose, just to give us a comfortable life.
And that inspired you indeed to come and develop some ideas, which we'll find out about more, as that background and seeing what your parents went through, or your mother, has inspired you to start a social enterprise, as it were.
Yes, and it's also because people don't realise that when refugees and migrants come to a new country, especially when the community group isn't set up as well, when they're just the new people, especially when my mum was in New Zealand. She had to work many very, very long hours at a chocolate factory.
Yes.
And and
then leave the children, you know. Like
in the care of other people, and the whole and it's very long hours, and also the way that she was treated, because there wasn't a cultural understanding back then in the early 90s.
Yes.
So she wasn't treated very well, but we were very fortunate enough. We were sponsored by a church, so
thank goodness for that.
Yeah, so I've kind of grown up with very Christian ethic and Christian values, which has shaped my personality and has given me strength, I suppose, because I've witnessed through my community work in Australia and work with people in my community and also other ethnic communities, because I've done a lot of work in the multicultural community, is that sometimes they do have a tendency to look to their elders and to look to everyone else for help, and sometimes when it's not there, they don't have anywhere else to go.
Yes.
So I think I was fortunate enough to have
a church group or Christian group to fall back on.
To fall back on. And
who had a good plan for you.
They had an amazing plan for me, and they were very encouraging.
Excellent.
They were not judgmental, because sometimes when you're young and you're growing up and you're experimenting, sometimes you do the wrong things and you make mistakes, and you just need someone to be able to say to you, look, it's a mistake, give you a lecture, give you some advice, and allow you to move on. And that's the best kind of encouragement and comfort and advice that you can give anyone.
Well, absolutely, because, you know, the Christian message is, it's about who's inside or you know, who you really are, and it's wonderful. You're living evidence of that program being excellent. I suppose that there's really something in your character as well, and you know, your mother has kept friendships even from the refugee camp. She must have some amazing stories about her migration too.
My mum's an amazing person. She's very strong. Very, very strong with everything that she had to go through, and what we experienced, not only in the refugee camps, but growing up in New Zealand.
For her it would have been before being in the refugee camp.
It was.
That must have been quite terrible.
It was horrendous, because she went through, obviously, the Pol Pot regime, so she went through the Khmer Rouge regime, and because she's half Chinese, half Cambodian, and she came from a wealthy family, so everything was against her. And she told me how she had to pretend to be stupid, really, to survive. And same with my dad, like they had to pretend to be not intelligent, no one special, just a normal person. And that's how most people survived, because they were trying to cut down all the intelligent, all the academic people, all the people who would question their authority. So that's my understanding of it.
Kolan, we'll come back to your story after some messages, so please do stick around, and we'll find out more about our Cambodian guests. Welcome back. We're with Gullian, and she's telling us her migration story from Cambodia via New Zealand to Australia. Now, very quickly, what was the idea of coming to Australia from New Zealand?
Well, my parents came first, and I was still finishing my studies, and they stayed. So I came after them, and we pretty much stayed.
So a research trip.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, those early months in Australia, when you were brought over with your family, what sort of things were happening?
I actually thought it was a remarkable experience for me, because living in New Zealand when you're young, and plus the culture in New Zealand has changed obviously, but back then there was, and I lived in a very non-multicultural area, so I didn't have that kind of environment. Okay. But then when I came to Melbourne, and we settled in Keysborough.
Fabulous.
So, and then when I went to Springvale and I saw all the Cambodian food and all the mangoes and all the lovely people, I just thought, wow, this is a wonderland. And then the more I got involved in the community, and then I met all these other cultures, and I met this girl called Hala, and she's been an amazing mentor and friend to me, and she's introduced me to this whole new world, I suppose. And I just thought how amazingly fantastic it was that everyone is allowed to be themselves and embrace their culture. And I suppose that's a bit of me came out, because it was okay to walk around wearing your Cambodian clothes, and it was okay to speak your language.
And fitting into, a Melbourne environment and getting a job. And so this really struck you as it's wonderful that we have all that diversity still happening.
And the fact that we embrace opportunity here, we embrace merit. Anyone has an idea, they can go to anyone, doesn't matter who you are, and people will help you nurture your idea.
And this doesn't happen in many places, it seems. But anyway, we're so lucky to have you in Australia, and you've got a vision now to do something with your work and social enterprise. Tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it actually started because being a Cambodian young person, I asked myself, why don't we have any facilities for our young people, and why don't we have simple things like a hall or a youth group, or things that other cultures had, because I worked in the multicultural community beforehand, and I was awarded the Young Citizen of the Year in the City of Greater Dandenong for my work in the multicultural community. And then when I won that award, someone approached me and they said, why don't you do more for your community? And then I started doing my research and realizing that, because I suppose there was inadequacies and there was a political thing behind it, and I just thought, I'm going to push that all aside, because that's politics, and I am a community-minded person. Yes. And then through the progression of researching about my young people and more about my country, and also my recent visit to Cambodia, I realized how talented and how innovative and creative the Cambodian people are, but they haven't been given the opportunities. And it's not because people aren't there, it's because it is a developing country. It is a country that's developing out of a war-torn area, and it has progressed a lot. And we as Cambodian citizens and ethnic Cambodians, and also we as citizens of other countries such as New Zealand and Australia, we have to play a part in helping to develop the country. But the job of peacekeeping and the job of that kind of diplomacy has already been done. Cambodia is a peaceful country now, and now what we have to do is help drive economic growth in order to reduce simple problems like poverty. And it's a well-known fact that in order to reduce poverty, you have to drive the economy. So the premise for my initiative is I suppose it's the accepted fact, and it's the view that the Cambodian people are very entrepreneur, the innovators, they're natural innovators. Because if you go to Cambodia, under every single house you will see businesses being open.
Wow.
If people are in the marketplace along the road, they sell corn, they sell food, things that they made themselves, and they've turned it into a business. So now we just have to take that creativity and that innovation and that drive, nurture it, and
put an infrastructure around it, or
put
something.
An infrastructure and a framework. So that's so that's their idea, and it's a very libertarian idea, and it will work in Cambodia because it has a very free and open market. And for me personally, just from observation, I personally believe that, because they have the will and they have the determination. These people, they wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
And they sit there selling mangoes, and they don't rest. They don't rest until they've done their work. And for me, I just sort of was awe-inspiring, because growing up in countries like New Zealand and Australia, we're always complaining about 9-to-5 jobs.
Yes. But it's different if you only have your natural resources and your own, feeling and creativity, and there's no other way of earning an income other than starting a business underneath the floorboards of your house if necessary.
Exactly.
And you've identified this.
Yeah, so I've identified this as a way in which you can solve those problems. So there are two problems that people that I've noticed that people have been...
We'll probably come back to those problems after this break, and also the name of the organisation, which I don't know if you founded it, but it sounds fantastic, the work you're doing in Melbourne for Cambodia.
Thank you.
Come back soon after these messages.
If you were living on the streets, wouldn't you want more than just your best friend to keep you safe and warm? Donate to Backpack Bed for Homeless and give warm, waterproof protection and dignity tonight. Call 1300 OzHelp.
Welcome back. Well, let's get straight back to where we were. And you've started an organisation, or that is an organisation built around?
It's in the process of being established.
Oh, well, you're founding it, are you?
Yes, I'm founding it.
Oh, wow.
It's my research, it's my baby, so I've been working on it for a while. So basically what it is, it's going to be called the Encore Exchange Secretariat, and it'll be a social enterprise. The reason why it'll be a social enterprise is so it can remain independent and also be sustainable.
Yeah.
Obviously, the NGO model can work for some organisations.
Non-government organisations, yes.
Can work with some organisation, but in this sense it won't work for this secretariat because it needs to be independent and sustainable.
So what's the name again?
The Encore Exchange.
Encore. And it's a friendship society, as it were, that type of registration?
Essentially, but the purpose is to strengthen the bilateral economic, cultural and people-to-people links. So a matter of just assisting with the implementation of future and present agreements, such as the ASEAN-Australian Free Trade Area and also other programs that are in place, but also to develop new ways to, as I spoke to before, nurture that innovative spirit.
That's right.
And
that's where we were.
And to also essentially to be able to create direct links.
But maybe with this and a connection with Australia, there's a bit of infrastructure being formed that wouldn't probably happen in Cambodia, hey? By itself. Without you doing this, it wouldn't develop.
No, exactly. And the problem that there were two problems that I highlighted was more of nurturing the innovative spirit, teaching them how to use their resources that they have, because Cambodia has a lot of resources, but the problem is that because we do have a generation gap, because due to the wars and conflicts in the country, there's that missing generation of people who have the training, who have the education to be able to do things with the land, do things with their amazing talent and creativity.
Such a long war has stopped education, like it's virtually taken a whole generation out because they were preoccupied with survival.
Yeah, exactly. But now Cambodia has come a long way in sense of development, and there's no harm with other countries such as Australia and New Zealand helping with this development. So we've helped in the past with maintaining peace, and now it's our job to make the economy better, create individual prosperity, create wealth, and by doing that we will combat the one problem that people are always talking about, reducing poverty. Yes. Because the spending in Cambodia is almost on par with Australia. So in Australia we would get noodles for $9, and in Cambodia it's $3. So it's the same, but the minimum wage is massive. So it's about in Cambodia it's $160, and then obviously here it's $16.73 an hour, and it's $160 a month. So essentially what we what our I suppose mandate would be is to research ways in which we can help nurture and cultivate the things that are already there. So this innovation, this passion and drive that these people already have, and the way is obviously to create the direct links. So the primary function of the Secretariat would be to seek out, implement, encourage and promote effective ways in which you can create better links between in business and culture and education. So just to have that continual dialogue and also to help implement it. And it's also to foster a culture of understanding that people need to understand, because there's always this this culture that, you know, why are you coming into my country and taking over my country? They don't, it's divided. It's divided at the moment, because there are those people who care about human rights, and there's those people who care about the economy. But you can bring those two things together, and I personally believe, because Australia, we already have the frameworks in place. We already have our commissions, our fieldwork commissions, we already have our Australian standards of practices, that if you work together with Australia and New Zealand, that you can help bring those two things together, because you need the economy, you need investment, and you need trade for the country to grow in order to implement ways in which you can assist with human rights. And so that's why I believe...
You're at the very beginning really with your vision.
Yeah.
And I think it really is a vision of yours, but your friends and people, and the, you know, you're a particular generation, a very interesting...
So it's based on...
You've come through with this experience, and wow, there's the answer.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly, because it's based on, obviously, I'm a libertarian, so I do believe in individual merit and individual prosperity, because you need to be able to prosper yourself in order to help others, whether we like to accept it or not.
What would be one or two, well, it's starting this organisation, but like what be a concrete example of how, well, Australians in Melbourne can get involved in helping Cambodia through the
Definitely. So there are many ways. At the moment, in August, I'm going to go on a research and scoping tour, hopefully just getting a bit more understanding of what it is that we need to work on. One of the things that the Royal Government of Cambodia has earmarked is the agriculture, commercial agriculture.
Wow.
Because there is a situation in Cambodia at the moment, in the media they refer to it as land grabs, but the story behind that is that it's because there are people they've owned the land, it's a family land, they've been on it for many, many years, but the problem is that they don't have the education to cultivate the land and to turn it into a viable business. So they sell the land off to someone else. They sell the land off to another private citizen.
So you're selling where everything's going to be
so just produced. Like, but that's because they have squandered away. That's probably a harsh word, but it's the same as in Australia. If the farmer cannot afford if he does not want to continue with his farming business, he sells it to someone else. And if he were to stay on the land, the new owner has the right to get the government and the law enforcement involved. That's our first project. Our first project is to be able to bring to raise money in other ways. So through the enterprise, to bring those farmers over to Australia.
Because of course we're pretty good at farming here in Australia. So, what a wonderful initiative.
To exchange our knowledge with theirs. In the whole saying that you need to teach someone to fish. Don't give them a fish, because that's what we've been doing. That's our problem. We've been giving them fish, and the fish runs out. You know, and that's exactly what's happening. We don't have Australia doesn't have billions of money to give away. But what we can give away is what we have learnt, and what we have learnt has worked.
Kylan, thank you so much for joining us here on Channel 31 Migration Stories. We'll have to check in on you again.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been watching Migration Stories. My name's Rich MELfeed, and please tune in again to NAT Chat, same time next week.
Good evening, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. This is 6 News. Tonight, riots continue across the United States with no end in sight. We'll have the latest developments as protests go international. 2 Channel 9 reporters attacked in London live on air while covering the protest. Plus, a shocking new trend, the George Floyd challenge sees teenagers kneel on another's neck, and now it's made its way to a Brisbane school. Also tonight, Channel 31 launches a final plea to stay on air. We'll be talking to their operations manager as well as a young journalist who was part of the station last year. And Victorian students return to school on Tuesday, but classrooms are set to look very different. 6 News starts now. Thanks for joining us on this very busy Sunday. Our news is once again dominated by the protests happening not just in the United States but around the world following the death of George Floyd. These protests have now been seen in countries across the world. They include the UK, France, Greece, and now here in Australia, amongst other countries. This all comes despite all 4 officers involved in George Floyd's death being arrested and charged. In the past week, several journalists have been attacked by the police or protesters while live on air. Channel 9 Sophie Wash was assaulted while reporting in London. Thankfully, she was okay, but the man later tracked down and arrested. And less than 12 hours after that, another Channel 9 reporter was attacked. Ben Avery, chased by a large group of protesters. He was also unharmed.
Okay guys, so what's happened, we've been trying to walk away from the danger here, but it's been following us.
As we just mentioned, all 4 officers involved in the death of George Floyd have now been arrested and charged. These are the faces of the 4 men who have sparked protests across the United States and the world. From left to right, they are Thomas Lane, Tu Tuau, Derek Chauvin, who was the officer seen with his knee on Floyd's neck, and J. Alexander Kuang. Charges range from second-degree murder to aiding and abetting to second-degree manslaughter. Bail for 3 of those now former officers is currently set at $1 million. The 2 officers who attacked Channel 7 reporter Amelia Brace and her cameraman Tim have now been stood aside. It came as calls for an investigation into what happened outside of the White House grew, not just here in Australia but also around the world. This all comes as more allegations of authorities targeting journalists emerge. In the past fortnight, reporters from several networks have been arrested, punched and sprayed with tear gas. Many of those incidents captured live on air. There's a shocking new trend making the rounds on social media right now. It's called the George Floyd challenge, and it involves one person kneeling on another person's neck in reference to Mr. Floyd's final moments. The trend has now made its way to Australia, with shocking images emerging of 2 schoolboys in Brisbane taking part in the challenge with the caption "RIP George Floyd." However, St Joseph's College Gregory Terrence said it was an act of bullying, not a tribute to Mr. Floyd. The prestigious private school says they are now investigating. Okay, then we're going to take a quick break, but coming up next on 6 News, we'll take a look at what's trending online. Plus, reporter Jared Taylor has the latest from New South Wales as shops begin to reopen. Also, the final plea from Channel 31 only weeks before they are set to be taken off the air. And Sebastian Puglisi talks about the return of face-to-face learning in Victoria, but not everyone's happy. Stay with us.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob, and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news. It's the Ben, Rob, and Robbo. Ben, Rob, and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob, and Robbo Show.
The Ben, Rob and Robbo Show, Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m, right here on Ticker TV.
As chaos unfolds across America, outrage grows around the world following the death of George Floyd. Through the 6 networks' worldwide resources, our special coverage continues. With exclusive access to footage from independent media group Unicorn Right, we'll show you pictures no one else can. Channel 6 suspends all regular programming to bring you every fact, every breaking detail. Exclusive coverage, live reports, on air now. 6 News. Welcome back. It's time to take a look at what's trending online, and social media was flooded with a sea of black images on Tuesday as the Blackout Tuesday hashtag went viral. But it didn't exactly go to plan. Hundreds of thousands of users mistakenly tagged Black Lives Matter, meaning the BLM hashtag, which usually has the latest information on the protest and how to protect yourself, had thousands of black squares on its page. Were you a part of the blackout? Tell us by tagging hashtag 6NewsAU on either your Facebook, Twitter or Instagram posts. Businesses are beginning to reopen across New South Wales as coronavirus cases drop around the country. Reporter Jared Taylor has the latest details.
Cafes, restaurants, beauty salons and Sydney Strongers who have opened up their doors as the New South Wales government declares that they can continue trading as of June 1st. Scott Morrison announced today that the monthly COVID reaction plan will come out later throughout the month and that he feels that this is a very necessary and prominent moment. He also assures that we all should remain vigilant during the coronavirus pandemic still being active. He also urges companies that are reopening, that are permitted to also follow the COVID Safe Work Action Plan, which has been on the New South Wales Government's websites for these businesses to follow. Jared Taylor, 6 News.
Channel 31 has launched one last plea to stay on air in Melbourne and its surrounds. The station, which has been broadcasting since 1994, is set to be shut down on June 30 unless the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, overturns a decision made in 2014 by Malcolm Turnbull. But the station's operation manager says Mr. Fletcher hasn't actually spoken to Channel 31 nor its sister station 44 Adelaide.
We actually are yet to have a conversation with the Minister himself. We have been speaking with his advisors and the Department of Communications and the Arts, etc. itself, but we haven't spoken with him. At the moment, they're all holding the party line, which is that we've been given 6 years to switch off.
Brittany Coles was a young journalist for Mojo News, which aired on Channel 31 last year. She told 6 News about the importance of community television to her and other young people wanting to be in the TV industry.
Well, you can't get relevant TV studio experience via the internet. There's great YouTube platforms, there's great digital news out there, but it's nothing like an actual production of a TV show.
And if you want to help out, use the hashtag KeepLocalTV on social media and write a letter of support to your local MP, especially if they are from the Coalition. Victorian students are set to become the last in the country to return to face-to-face learning, but as Sebastian Puglisi explains, not everyone's happy.
Most Victorian students are set to return to school from Monday with tough restrictions in place due to the coronavirus pandemic. Students will start at a different time depending on the year level, with mandatory hand washing after each break. But not everyone's happy. There's concern about traffic chaos on our roads, with less people taking public transport and the potential COVID-19 spread in classrooms. Despite this, most students are excited to head back to school again. Sebastian Puglisi, 6 News.
To the national forecast, and it's set to be a cloudy few days around the country. Darwin getting up to a top of 32 tomorrow, same on Tuesday. In Brisbane, 22 tomorrow and 22 on Tuesday. Sydney, light rain, 16 degrees with similar conditions on Tuesday. In Canberra, a freezing start to the day, 0 degrees, but sunny and a top of 13. Melbourne, also 13 degrees, also cloudy. Hobart, 12 degrees, partly cloudy, 14 on Tuesday. Adelaide, a top of 14 tomorrow, and Perth, a warmer top of 22. And before we go tonight, a quick recap of our top story this Sunday. And protests continue across the United States, here in Australia and the world, despite all 4 officers involved in the death of George Floyd being arrested. They've been charged with second-degree murder as well as aiding and abetting to second-degree manslaughter. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at 6NewsAU. If you're watching via MELfeed.video, stick around because up next is Inline Plus. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Hello and welcome to Inline Plus. Today, as we continue our visit to Adelaide, we visit a training event at Rockabella's Roller Derby. First up, we talk to Tegan, then we'll talk to a few of the skaters from the league. Hi, we're here with Tegan, who's the head league trainer for the Roller Derby League, but in the Roller Derby world you've all got alter egos, so what's yours?
Mine's Miss Teak, taken from the X-Men, but everyone knows me as Miss T, so I just wanted to use my name in something.
So what location are we in at the moment, and what other locations do you train at?
Today we are at Noarlunga's location, so this is Noarlunga Leisure Centre, and we also train in Gawler at Gawler Rec Centre and Mount Barker at Cornerstone and the Rec Centre at the Adelaide Hills Rec Centre.
Okay, so this league's quite an interesting league, isn't it? Because you've got a mixture of girls and boys and men and women all tied in together in this league.
Yes, we do. We cater to all the juniors that would like to skate, and we also cater to men and women because we want to be a inclusive roller derby league.
And that's sometimes a rare thing in roller derby, or is it gradually going that way?
It's gradually going that way. They still have leagues here that are solely for women. There's 2 leagues that do that, and then we have 2 leagues in Adelaide that are mixed gender.
So what are you doing with the juniors in the league at the moment?
So last year our juniors were really small, so we would have games where we would just do 5-a-side, or maybe it was 5 and someone else would fill in. But this year we've really boosted our juniors, and we're able to do 2 teams now. We don't have all our juniors tonight, but we generally can get up to more than 10 a team now. So that's been a massive growth for our juniors, and it's all venues now. Before it was at everyone was pretty much from Mount Barker, but we've now grown our juniors at here, Noarlunga and at Gawler.
So this night is a reasonably special night, isn't it? Because you've actually got most of the league together tonight?
Yes, we do. We have our main bout next week, so we always scrim the weekend before, and this is where the 2 teams get to practice that are going to play against each other next week. Yeah.
So how are the senior teams going compared to last year?
So last year we had Noarlunga, who is a growing team, and compared to last year they've built on their members, and they've got a bigger member base, and they're still growing. So we've got 2 newbies out here tonight that are watching. They only came out last night for their first training session, so this is their first time seeing our scrim, and we have Mount Barker, who have now got full capacity team, which wasn't like that last year, wasn't like that at the beginning of the year. They've just grown that in the mid this year. And Gawler, they've now got a steady growth of a full team, as well as officials, and that's NSOs and refs, so it's been great.
So you're gradually getting to the point where you'll be able to have a mini competition between all of the centres almost?
Oh, we do. Yeah, well, we do have a competition between them, but like, say, with Prims, because they're not at capacity yet, some players will fill in for them. But once they hit that capacity point and they have the experience in the team, they'll just be there holding their own.
So you've got some provisions for new recruits coming up. What's the terminology for new recruits, and what are you doing with them?
So the terminology for our new recruits is called fresh meat. So they start off in raw meat if they've never skated before. So they're like learning to be on skates, and then they'll progress to fresh meat, and that's a 10-week program. We do currently have a rolling intake for Noarlunga, so they're currently taking new skaters as fresh meat, but we're going to, at the end of our season, have a program from October to December catering for all new skaters.
Okay. So who can be a member of the league?
Anyone can be a member of the league, so the juniors take from 8 years to 18, and then for the seniors we start at 18, and any age can come in here and give it a go.
So there's basically no limit as long as they can roll around, pretty much.
Yeah, and they're ready to play hard on the track. Yeah, definitely.
Take a few hard knocks.
Yeah, that's right. You fall down, you get back up and go again.
Yeah. So you've got various training meets during the week in the league. So what are the aims and objectives with that?
So each venue train twice a week, and we pretty much train every day of the week other than a Friday and a Saturday. But we are at this stage training Friday nights as well, because we have our travel team ready to go interstate to Melbourne for a tournament.
So you'll be heading our way to Victoria very shortly?
Yes, we will. We'll be going to Keysborough, if that's how you, near Dandenong.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so we'll be going there for the United Roller Derby playoffs, and teams from around Australia will be going there for a mixed league tournament.
Okay, so you've got a Carnivale coming up for the juniors. Can you tell us what that's about?
So all juniors around Australia are coming together in September for a weekend of derby. So they'll do a boot camp where they'll all get to train together and learn new skills, and then they'll have mixed games where they get to be different teams, like day and night and stuff like that, and then they'll have more games on the Sunday as well. So they'll be in their own teams and play against other states.
So that's obviously a big thing for the juniors. How do they usually feel about getting into that event?
So we've had a few players that have played before, like in 2017, and we have a lot of new players. It's going to be their first tournament, so I don't know how they're going to feel. I guess they're going to be really excited, and they're going to learn lots and have lots of fun and meet new people.
So a lot of your skaters here are busy training for the Great Southern Slam, apparently.
Oh, so we haven't started training for that yet. We are working with URDP first, and then we're looking at 2 different events to lead up to TGSS next year. It will be our 3rd year entering TGSS. It's all a learning process and lots of fun. There's a lot of skilled teams that come across to play against, and it's always fun to be able to play against them.
So thanks, Tegan, for your time and explaining to us and inviting us out to the Roller Derby League tonight, and best of luck with all your ambitions for the future for the league.
Thank you. We really appreciate you coming out here. Everyone's was really excited that you're coming, and it gives exposure to our league in our regional areas that we are from. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course this is going to Melbourne and hopefully Perth as well, so that'll introduce your league to a few of those viewers as well.
It will, and it would be great because when people say the Rockabellas, it doesn't really say where we're from, so now everyone will know we're from Adelaide, so it'll be nice.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Coming up after the break, we talk to Rachel about her experiences in roller derby.
Community television is a part of Australia's media landscape, and it's yours. On July 1, it could be gone from the airwaves forever. In its place, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, intends to replace a vibrant and diverse media sector with years and years and years of white noise. When there is no cost to the Australian government to keep community television on the air, and in the absence of a viable alternative, we ask Minister Fletcher to keep local TV on TV. For more information, email info@c31.org.au.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Hi, we've got Rachel here, who's the officials representative for the Roller Derby League here. And what's your alter ego in the roller derby world?
My derby name is Passion Fingers.
And you play and you ref as well?
I sure do. I play for our Gawler team and I am usually a referee, but at the moment, non-skating official.
So what are the goals you've got for your officials here in the Roller Derby League?
So 2019 has been a big year for Titans for building our referees and officials, as the amount of officials within South Australia for roller derby is quite lacking. We have a goal to eventually become self-sufficient and be able to manage a game without needing other officials. At this stage we're not quite there, but we definitely are building our skills and everyone's learning all the roles really, really well.
So we should point out that you've mentioned the name Titans there. That's the name of the refs and the officials team for the league?
Yeah, so within Rockabellas we have our officials team which is called Titans, and that includes our refs and our non-skating officials as well.
So if anyone's taking up skating and they're thinking of a possible role in skating, you've got some room here for them?
Of course, we always have room for people to come and learn our official roles. We take juniors from as young as 10 years old that can learn the rules of reffing, and as long as they can work out our official paperwork, we'll teach them all they need to know and we'll give them plenty of practice like at our scrimmages tonight.
So you've also got non-skating officials, haven't you? So you don't necessarily have to skate to be an official?
Absolutely not. We have plenty of roles that we have that don't require skates, just requires a bit of paperwork and watching the game and learning the game as well.
So what are some of the challenges you face as a ref?
Some of the challenges can be obviously you're calling penalties on the skaters, and sometimes this can upset them if they disagree. However, we have a policy against no back chatting with our refs. If they see it, they call it, and that's pretty much how we do it.
So we're here at a scrimmage tonight. This is where you rehearse your gameplay and that sort of thing, but it's pretty close to gameplay, isn't it?
It is pretty close to gameplay. There's a few things like we don't have our rope track laid. However, other than that, it is played as a game. We have all our learning officials. They are shadowing roles. We have someone experienced in the roles and then the people learning those roles to teach them. We have every senior here tonight at the moment is actually learning an official role while our juniors play. And then when our seniors are playing, we have our juniors step in and start to learn some roles as well.
So to the uninitiated, it can seem rather confusing what roller derby's about. What's the basic premise of the game, and how does the points accumulate and that sort of thing?
So roller derby can be really confusing to someone watching from the outside who doesn't actually know the rules. But basically, each team has 5 players on track. There are 4 blockers and one's a jammer, and they have a star on their head. So the jammer is the person who scores the points for their team, and to gain points they have to pass the hips of blockers on the opposing team.
So that's where a lot of the skill comes into the game then, with the scoring.
It sure is. So a lot of people think derby can just be hitting each other, but you do need to have that skill and knowledge behind you to know how to hit properly and how to watch the gameplay to know how to get through the pack.
So thanks, Rachel, for your time in explaining to us the role of the officials, and best of luck with the future of the league.
No worries, thank you very much.
Hi, we're here with Tegan and Allegra, and but that's not what you're known as in the derby world, is it? What's your derby name here?
My name is Katniss Everdoom, and people call me Kat for short.
So you've even got nicknames for the nickname here?
Yep, definitely.
And what's your derby name here?
My derby name's Rainbow Crash, but people call me Rainbow.
So it must get confusing having 2 or 3 different names sometimes, does it?
Yeah, sometimes.
And, what location are you from, and how long have you been playing roller derby with the club?
I've been playing for 4 years or so, and we come from Mount Barker.
Okay, and how long have you been playing, and where are you from?
I'm also from Mount Barker, and I've been playing for 4 years.
So you've been playing a pretty similar amount of time? Yeah. What do you enjoy about roller derby?
I enjoy all the hits and like the speed and action and stuff.
So does it get pretty physical, doesn't it, this game? So you enjoy knocking people around a bit?
Yeah, definitely.
How about you?
Yeah.
Okay. So what team have you been in so far? And I hear that some exciting things are going to happen to the team rebranding soon.
Right now we are known as the Ravens. We train with the Rockabellas, which is our seniors group, and we're changing our name and our logo, so that's going to be exciting to figure out.
So by the time this goes to air, you'll probably find out what the new name is, but unfortunately we just can't tell you right now. And you're in the same team, of course, so yeah.
Yeah.
So we know you have girls' teams. Do you have boys' teams in this league as well?
We work together, so there are some boys in our team at the moment. About 3 or 4 or something. A few have left, but it's normally both. You can play both.
So do you play together or do you have to play separately?
We can play together.
So boys and girls play together. So do you have any heroes among the club members? Do you like anyone that you like to be like?
Well, I like to just be like anyone above me, like in states or in a different older group that's a bit more experienced.
So what's your favourite position when you're playing?
I don't mind, blocker or jammer.
So you do those pretty well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your favourite position out on the track?
Probably jamming.
So you like knocking into them and getting the points?
Yeah.
And who's your hero in the club, do you reckon?
Probably all the seniors.
All the seniors there. So you just want to be like them one day and get into the seniors club. Okay, thanks for having a chat to us, and best of luck with your ambitions with roller derby, and we hope you go well.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Coming up after the break, Dennis will discuss his time in roller derby.
This season, we need your help to control Queensland fruit fly in our region. Your infested fruit is destroying your neighbour's harvest and the livelihood of our orchardists and their families. Pick up and dispose of fallen fruit. Infected fruit in your backyard is a breeding ground for fruit fly. Monitor fruit fly numbers by hanging traps in your fruit trees. Traps can be purchased at your local hardware stores. Net your fruit trees and susceptible vegetables with fruit fly specific netting. Contact us for information.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Hi, we're here with Dennis, who's one of the male players in the league, and you've all got alter egos, so what's yours?
Mine's Beef Supreme.
And what team are you in the league?
I play for the Doomsday Rollers.
Okay, so how long have you been playing derby with the league?
This is my second season.
So you're fairly new at it?
Yeah, very new at derby, but I skated a lot when I was younger, so that helps.
So did you have to take it up again as an adult, or did you have a gap between being a kid skating and coming back as an adult? Or
yeah, I did. I skated recreationally for a couple of years, or probably 2 years before I joined derby.
So you've had a little bit of rolling around just to get used to it before you took up the derby?
Yeah, a bit of low impact exercise.
So you've got a special event you're training for. What's that?
The United Roller Derby playoffs in Victoria.
So you'll be heading our way across to Victoria?
Yep, looking forward to it.
Okay, so when are you due to head over to Victoria?
It's the end of August.
End of August?
Yeah, it's Father's Day weekend.
Well, that's a little bit unfortunate, but sometimes you have to make sacrifices with sport, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go. So who are some of your heroes among the members of the league?
In the league, probably Night Owl. He's one of the other male skaters. He's really good. So at training, we push each other pretty hard.
So he's your main rival or your main friend?
Well, main friend on the track, but main rival at training.
Okay, so you're on separate sides?
No, we play on the same team, but when we train, we play against each other. We train against each other a bit.
Okay, I understand that.
Exercises.
Yeah, I understand. So when you're doing your training, you split up into two different groups?
Yeah, normally. Depends on what the drill is. Some of the drills we split up. And
so he can be your friend and your rival at the same time?
Yeah.
So that's one of the male skaters, your friend and your rival there. So have you got any of the female skaters that you particularly look up to in the league?
Yeah, I do. There's one called Ludacris. She plays for the Toxic Cherries up at Mount Barker, and she's got fantastic footwork. It's very precise and accurate.
So who are your main rivals in the league?
Player-wise or team-wise?
Probably a little bit of both.
Probably the Toxic Cherries are the main rivals at the moment. And like I said, Ludacris, Black Belter, and there's a few others in the Toxic Cherries that give me a hard time on track.
So one of the unique features of your league is both that you've got boys and girls and men and women, of course. We've already mentioned that. But one of the other aspects is that you're out on the fringe areas of Adelaide, I believe.
Yeah, we are. We sort of cater to the fringe area of Adelaide. So we have a team at Gawler, which is the Doomsday Rollers, and we have the Toxic Cherries at Mount Barker, and the southern team is the Prim Reapers at Noarlunga, which is where we are today.
So that means sometimes you've probably got a lot of travelling in this league, have you?
Yeah, we do have a lot of travelling, but, you know, we do it for the love of the sport, and, yeah.
Okay, so thanks very much for your time here, and best of luck with your upcoming tournament, and hope you do well in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. We hope you enjoyed this visit to Rockabella's Roller Derby. We will be back next week with another Adelaide episode. Until then, bye for now.
Get active, get social, get on a roll. For more info, visit skateaustralia.org.au.
Next week on Inline Plus, we talk to Skate South Australia about the successes and challenges of running roller sports events in South Australia. And don't forget, if you're interested in being part of our future shows, you can visit us online at inlineplus.net for details. Harmony in Diversity is next on MELfeed.video, followed at 9:30 p.m. by Spirit of Life. Then stay with us for 15 fabulous minutes, Red Lobster Poetry and Transports of Distant Delight. That's what is still to come tonight on MELfeed.video.
Hallelujah. Om Mani Padme Om. Allah Satnam.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Bhakta Das, who's the Vaishnava Hindu Minister of Religion and the Communications Director for the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, otherwise known as the Hare Krishna Movement. Thanks for coming in, Bhakta.
It's a pleasure, Norm. Thank you for having me.
I'd like to ask you just a simple question. Where did it all begin? Start at the beginning. Let us know how you became.
It was a long time ago now. I've always been a seeker for truth.
Mm-hmm.
As a young person, even as a very young person, I remember I used to enjoy very much reading the lives of saints.
Okay.
I was born in the Catholic tradition,
Mm-hmm.
and that fascinated me. Lives of saints, and I was an altar boy, and so spirituality right from a very early age was very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
That culminated with me having an opportunity to go to the missions in New Guinea and to study as a priest or a brother.
Oh, really?
For a period of time. That was a project or a program they used to have with Christian Brothers colleges, that at the end of your last year of high school you had an opportunity to travel if that was your proclivity.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yeah, I'd like to give that a try.
Yeah.
As a young 18-year-old I was a bit disillusioned, and I didn't stay there very long and came back to Australia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the disillusionment? Was it something specific that...
Yeah, there were certain issues and certain philosophical things that just didn't gel with me as a person.
Mm.
Issues such as why certain things happen to people, and negative things happen to certain people and positive things happen to other people. Why was God allowing suffering to happen in certain parts of the world and not in other parts of the world? General things that sometimes really confused me.
Yeah.
And so that was some of the issues, but also, and I have to say, and I don't mean to be derogatory, but some of the practices and the mindset that some of the priests and brothers that I was dealing with that they had was confusing to me. I saw prejudice, and I saw people that were addicted to intoxication, and I was looking up to these people as my mentors.
Yes.
And I found that very disturbing. And so I came back to Australia, much to the disappointment of my mother, who was very pleased that I was going to be a priest. And I said, that's not for me. And then I actually went into a fine arts course. I've always also been interested in painting and sculpture. So I did fine art in what's now Monash University. At that stage it was Caulfield Tech.
Yep.
And I became quite atheistic, you might say. I just had really been so disillusioned with religion, and I just dropped it.
Right.
And became very much involved with the Vietnam War at that stage.
Yep.
And protests against the Vietnam War. My auditorium was there with Jim Cairns and so on and so forth, so I was involved with that. And it was the 70s, and being an artist in the 70s was pretty hedonistic. So, but still, deep inside there was still a yearning that somewhere there's a spiritual connection for me.
Yes.
And it happened to me one day while I was in the sculpture room at Caulfield Tech. I was working on this sculpture. I had long hair and a beard and the whole sort of artistic. Yeah. Not to knock it. You got longish hair and a beard. And I thought, okay, and I was sitting there working on this sculpture, and a friend of mine, who I admire very greatly, he was like he was a guy that I looked up to. He was a little older than me. He did brilliant artwork. I played basketball with him. He was the best basketball player. He had the best girlfriends. He smoked the best dope, and all those sort of things. So, I idolised this bloke. And one day I was working away in the sculpture room, and he came in and he said, and I looked at him, and he wasn't grey anymore. He was bright-faced. He'd cut his hair short. He was looking effulgent. And I said, God, man, what are you on? And he said, well, I'm not on anything anymore. He said, I'm studying meditation. And I said, you're kidding. And tell me more about this meditation. So he explained it to me, told me the place where he learned to meditate. That day, that very day, I went and I studied, I learned to meditate. This was the meditation process of TM.
Yes.
Transcendental meditation. And I studied under Maharishi for 3 years. And that was the start again of my spiritual journey.
Right. So to go into it to that level, you'd made a big commitment. You were determined to discover by going into TM and taking that 3 years.
Yeah. But in that 3 years, I also made it a conscious effort to start studying the scriptures of my past.
Yeah.
So again, going back to the Bible, but with a new vision, having a look at the Bible, having a look at the Catholic Catechism, reading other scriptures, reading the Quran, the Torah, and so on and so forth. And the other thing that I did at that stage, with friends of mine as well, we would visit all the different holy men that came and holy women that came to Melbourne, and at that stage in the 70s, there was an influx of different swamis and yogis and gurus and everybody coming. So we went to see every single one of them, and we'd hear what they had to say. So that was interesting, but really in essence I stayed with Maharishi. I started teacher training course, meditation teacher training course, and I also did the TM Cities course, which was quite, it was very interesting.
Yes.
But there was always another course to be done, and there was always a little bit more money to fork out. And for a young guy, this was pretty expensive.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at one rounding course, I was there at a retreat, and I was asking Maharishi, so are you my guru, are you my teacher? And he said to me on the phone, he said, this will all come in the future. You do some more courses, this will all come. And I said, okay, who's God? And he didn't give a direct answer. Now, on that same rounding course, I got an opportunity I was handed a book called the Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam.
And that is a big book and a good book. We're coming to the end of this section, so let's pick that up as soon as we're finished.
Sure, no worries. Thanks, Neil.
We'll be back in a moment.
Every new line means 2 more hands. Join us, lions.org.au.
You're there when they can't sleep. You're there when they forget. But who's there when they're at school? Asthma can be serious. It affects 1 in 10 Australians and claims 400 lives each year. Does anyone at your school know what to do in an asthma emergency? Log on to asthmafriendlyschools.org.au and find out if your school is asthma friendly. Shouldn't every school be asthma friendly?
Hallelujah, Mani.
we're speaking with Bhakta Das, who's a Hare Krishna priest. Bhakta, before we went to the break, you were talking about the Bhagavad Gita, or in those days called the Gita, I think, or something.
Yeah, the Gita, but more specifically I was talking about the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a more comprehensive document of scripture.
Yes.
And that document and that scripture made a big impact on me, and it was written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder, Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement.
Okay.
So I was reading this and I was thinking, gee, this is really interesting. It's answering all the questions that I have.
Okay.
At the same time, somebody gave me a picture, a little photo of a deity of Krishna. And I was thinking, wow, such a beautiful personality. So it was the book and the picture, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. So I would be meditating and I would be thinking about Krishna and what I just read in the Bhagavatam. And then with the TM group, you have a situation where you have to explain the experiences that you're having in your meditations, especially at a retreat or a rounding course, they used to call it. So I would explain, well, in my meditations, I'm just thinking about Krishna, and I see his beautiful face, and they're going, oh, Bhakta, you better watch out. If you keep on going like this, you could end up chanting in the streets with those Hare Krishnas. And I remember to this day, I said, well, that might not be a bad idea.
Right.
A little while later, there I was chanting in the streets.
Right. So what was it about the Krishna that you said is sort of what a beautiful, what was it? Is it
It was finally, I was getting the answers to the questions that I'd had all my life. Why things happen to people, where life, what is the meaning to life, what is the direction of life. And we were talking earlier about a similar experience that you had with the life of saints.
Yes.
Saints were getting something out of life which wasn't pertaining to material things.
Yeah.
And they seemed to be happy with a spiritual substance, a spiritual thing. So finally I could tap into what they were experiencing. And it was a real joy to me. And so it wasn't that long after that I became a devotee of the Hare Krishna movement.
You touch on an important concept, of course, is joy, which then I think rolls over into the concept of bliss, doesn't it, in the sense that... So how was that feeling for you, as compared to your experience of joy in the past? Where were you now?
Well, there was a meditation process that I learned through it with Maharishi, and that gave a certain amount of understanding that we're not this material body and that there's something happening inside. That silent meditation really is a great benefit. But then with the Hare Krishna movement, you get the opportunity to actually chant, meditate on the holy names of God in a repetitious, like on a rosary beads, it's called japa beads. That has a profound effect on you.
Yes.
And that really elevates you to a state of blissful awareness.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful experience that can't be described really in words because it's so individual and yet so blissful and so completely all-encompassing that it fulfills you. And that was the thing that attracted me and attracted my friends as well, who were also doing TM at the stage. And basically we opted for that process of meditation as opposed to the silent meditation.
Yes, it's interesting that you bring the rosary into that, because the rosary is that mystical sort of pathway for many Catholics as well.
Yeah.
To get to a state of ecstatic awareness of the divinity of Jesus. So take us into the street, and you're dressed in your orange and your...
Well, I was never in orange.
No, weren't you?
Orange means that you're a renunciate and you're a single person. So I met my wife just at that time of flux, in between TM and becoming Hare Krishna devotee. And I'd sort of had an idea that, well, I would just pursue a celibate single life. I'd had enough of going out with girls and so on and so forth. So I thought, that's it. I'll just focus on being a monastic life. And she literally entered my life in the most unusual way. We met together in a park. She asked for some direction, And she was also interested in art, and I was just going to see a friend of mine who had an exhibition at the Art Centre at the College of the Arts, and she wanted to go to RMIT. And so she said, "Where's RMIT?" And I said, "Oh, lady, you're at the wrong place. It's way over the other side." I said, "I'll take you if you like. But at first I have to see this guy at the gallery." She said, "Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing that." So then I took her to the RMIT, and after RMIT I said, "Well, how about you come for lunch with me?" And I said, "I know a place where it's a free lunch."
Right.
And she said, "There's no place with a free lunch." And I said, "Yeah, the Hare Krishnas give you a free lunch." At that stage they were giving meals away for free, vegetarian meal. And so anyway, I took her there, and as I was entering the restaurant, one of the monks there, one of the priests, one of the Hare Krishna devotees, came up to me and said, "So this must be your wife?" And I said, "No, but she will be."
Good
Within
heavens.
6 months we were married.
Good heavens.
So there was a premonition for both of us that we'd had a link somewhere before. And we've been happily married for the last 37 years.
That's an interesting sort of take on a religious experience.
It was, because she was interested in spirituality. She had a fervent prayer. She came also from a Catholic tradition.
Right.
And she used to sing in a choir. And she would pray to Lord Jesus, "Please show me the right way to go. Give me someone that'll give me the direction and how to live my life." And in the same token, I needed someone to solidify my spiritual experience, and we came together, and now we're a team.
To quote Barry Humphries, that's sort of a bit spooky, isn't it?
It's spooky.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Oh, that's so. You mentioned with the saints that they inspired you, or you're very interested in them in your quite early youth. What was the key to that? Was it just the fact that they seemed to be able to go to places where otherwise people didn't go through their devotion?
Exactly, exactly. In particular, the early Christian saints, and then later in my sojourn and looking, people like Yogananda.
Yes.
Reading autobiography of a yogi enthralled me, Ramana Maharshi.
Yes.
And his journey.
Massive parallels.
They intrigued me. There was something more to life.
There is something more to life, and it's called time, and it passes. So we'll go to a break.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment.
Good morning, and how are you today? I am fine, thank you.
Red Lobster is a program about poetry featuring performances by a wide range of poets, published and unpublished, from all walks of life. You can catch poetry readings from all around Melbourne. So for an interesting and entertaining mix, come join us on MELfeed.video each Monday night at 10:30 for Red Lobster.
Hi, I'm Lane Beachley. Australians have recycled enough printer cartridges to cover Bondi Beach 12 times. That's kept 11,000 tonnes of valuable resources out of landfill. Drop your used original cartridges into the special boxes at participating retail outlets, and they'll be turned into new products from pens to road surfaces. Help us keep up the good work. Find out more at cartridges.planetark.org.
Hallelujah,
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Bhakta Das, who is a Hare Krishna priest. Bhakta, before the break, we were talking about the life of saints and the fact that you got married and that you're now a Hare Krishna, member of the Hare Krishna movement. There's a lot more story. What happened then?
Well, initially I never thought that I would become a Hare Krishna priest, or even to join the Hare Krishnas. The thought of wearing a big nappy and dancing in the streets was something that I thought, wow, that's not for me. But when you actually experience it, it's quite a treat.
Yeah.
My wife and I both joined together. We got initiated together. Our names, our spiritual names, Bhakta Das and Bhakti Devi Dasi, were the names that were given to us. When we took initiation, we promised regulative principles: no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex. So these are the rules of the Hare Krishna movement. And then we make an obligation to chant on our beads 16 rounds or 16 rosaries of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is our meditation.
Right.
I was engaged. The Hare Krishna movement is not a lazy movement. We're very much an active movement. We have restaurants, we have book distribution, we have various different things that go on. And so the first job that I got at that stage, we made our income from making these incredible candles, Hawaiian candles. And they put me in charge of it because I had a little bit of managerial skill and artistic ability. They put me in the candle factory to manage the candle factory, and we produced these beautiful candles which our boys and girls would sell direct to the public. Then I had an opportunity to run one of our farming communities. And finally I got an opportunity to set up our restaurant here in Melbourne, which is Gopal's Vegetarian Restaurant. 197 Swanson Street in the city, which is a great restaurant. It's still there. After 27 years, it is still functioning. A lot of people have been to Gopal's. And that was then. So we've travelled also to different parts of Australia. We lived in Queensland for a period of time. And then I came back around about 6 years ago now, and I was asked to take up this portfolio of communications director and interfaith director. For the movement.
For the movement.
Yeah.
So the communications director, what does that entail?
It's basically a PR representative, presenting Krishna consciousness to different aspects of the society, and just making it clear what we stand for, dealing with the media, dealing with controversies that may come up, and so on and so forth. So that was, at that stage, our children had grown up. I wasn't responsible to have to bring in an income of, to cover their costs and all that. So that was great. They're great kids. They've made great progress in their life. And, now was my time to really develop. My time and my wife's time to really develop our dedication to this great movement.
You mentioned the farms. You've got, is it 2 farms or 1 farm, but with 2 concepts?
In Australia or in Victoria?
In Victoria, sorry,
In Victoria we have 1 farming community. That's in Bamborough, Deans Marsh, on the way to Lorne. And it's a beautiful property. We'll probably get into it a little later, but we just recently had a fabulous festival there called Go Puja, which is a celebration of Mother Cow.
Yes.
You know, in India, the cow is revered as a sacred personality. And so on this day, on Go Puja, we decorate the cows, everybody gets to pat the cows and feed the cows, and they're very, very special. So this was a fabulous engagement. It was such a great opportunity, and that was good.
There's a particular type of cow, though, isn't it, that you use?
Yeah, there are the Indian cows, the zebu, I think it's called. But all cows.
All cows.
Yeah,
All right.
Milk-giving cows.
Yep. And, so it's broader. I had the picture of it being just the Indian style of cow, but it's not.
No, not necessarily. If a cow's more, suited to this climate, then we would, engage that cow.
And then do you milk them and go through?
That's the ultimate purpose. Is that the cow is so generous that she produces enough milk for both her calf and humanity. And the milk actually allows us, because we follow a vegetarian diet, lacto-vegetarian diet, the milk also nourishes us. So that's why in the Vedic tradition we see the cow as our mother. We have many mothers, but the cow is you have Mother Earth, you have the mother of your spiritual teacher, you have your original mother, but the cow is also considered one of our mothers. And so you wouldn't harm your mother. And so that's what we emphasise quite a lot. Cow protection.
And appropriately so. So you, on that farm, vegetarians would be happy because most of the cows would die of old age.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So it's sort of a cow heaven in a way, isn't it?
In a sense, it is. It's called a Goshala. Goshala. Every part of the cow is sacred. Every part of the cow is utilised. It's even the cow dung. The cow dung in India is used for burning, like they would use the cow dung as briquettes here or in open fire. They also use it for protection from mosquitoes and so many different things. It's a very amazing thing when you analyse the different different properties that cow has.
Yeah, it is amazing, and you've got quite a lot of temples and shrines and things in the Victorian area, haven't you?
From the broader Hindu community, yes, there's an ever-increasing amount of different Hindu temples popping up. Because the growth of the Hindu community, it's the fastest-growing immigration demographic here in Victoria, and so consequently, yes, there's temples opening up all over the place.
Yeah. From the Hare Krishna perspective, how many do you have?
Here in Melbourne, we have one temple, one main temple, but we have another thing which is called the Bhakti Vriksha groups. And Bhakti Vriksha groups are more like home programs, where congregational members will go, and there's 16 of them scattered around Melbourne.
All right. Now, I'm going to have to break here. 16 of them will be scattered around Melbourne because we won't have enough time. Would you come back next week, because there's a huge amount that we need to talk about? If you could, that'd be great.
It'd be an absolute pleasure, Norm.
Thank you very much, Bhakta. We'll be back next week, and we'll be speaking again to Bhakta Das. Bye for now.
Shanti Om Allahu
After over 25 years of broadcasting into homes across Australia, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, intends to switch off community television stations by June 30 this year. Community television provides an open access, free-to-air platform for Australians to connect, to learn, to educate, to express themselves, and showcases our diverse and vibrant local communities. But on July 1, it will be gone from the airways forever. Instead, it will be replaced by up to 5 years of white noise. The federal government has no alternative planned use for the spectrum community TV occupies, and will be unable to do anything in its place for years to come. There is no upside and no explanation. We ask Minister Fletcher to show his support for the remaining stations and to keep local TV on TV. For more information, email info@c31.org.au.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Spirit of God in the clear running water, blowing to greatness the trees and the hill. Spirit of God in the glimmer of morning, fill the earth, bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow till I hear but breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Hello and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Morella Rich. Today our guest is Father Eugene Ashker, who's a Catholic priest in Victoria, and we'll be discussing Our Lady Queen of Peace's message from Medjugorje on January the 2nd, 2019. Welcome to the program, Father.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
And Our Lady once said to the visionaries in Medjugorje that when a priest blesses you, it's as if Jesus himself has come down and is blessing you himself. So I was wondering if you could give us here in the studio and all the viewers watching the show a blessing.
All right, certainly. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he shine his face upon you and be gracious to you. May he fill you with his love, his joy, and his peace. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit come down upon you and remain with you forever.
Amen. Thank you, Father. That's beautiful. So we'll start with the message Our Lady said on the 2nd of January. Dear children, sadly among you, my children, there is so much battle, hatred, personal interests, and selfishness. My children, so easily you forget my Son, His words, His love. Faith is being extinguished in many souls, and hearts are being grasped by material things of the world. But my motherly heart knows that there are still those who believe and love, who are seeking how to draw all the closer to my Son, who are tirelessly seeking my Son. Then in this way they are also seeking me. These are the humble and the meek with their pain and suffering, which they carry in silence, with their hopes, and above all with their faith. These are the apostles of my love. My children, apostles of my love, I am teaching you that my Son is not only asking for continuous prayers, but also for works and feelings, that you believe, that you pray, that with your personal prayers you grow in faith, that you grow in love. To love each other is what He asks for. That is the way to eternal life. My children, do not forget that my Son brought the light to this world, and He brought it to those who wanted to see it and receive it. You be those, because this is the light of truth, peace, and love. I am leading you in a motherly way to adore my Son, that you love my Son with me, that your thoughts, words, and actions may be directed to my Son, that they may be in His name. Then my heart will be fulfilled. Thank you. I love this message because it feels like it's so linked to reality, like it's pointing at the bad, the good, and how you can choose, like to really put Jesus in the place instead of being, battling and being full of hatred and personal interest and selfishness, not to forget to see Jesus in your neighbour, to see Jesus there and be really brought back to that and hear Him in your heart. But anyway, I'll start it line by line. Or did you want to say something on that?
No. When you go into that, I think
it'll come out. Yeah.
It will come out, yeah.
Okay, Our Lady said, Dear children, sadly among you, my children, there is so much battle, hatred, personal interests, and selfishness. My children, Son, His words, His love. I'll leave it with that. So what would you like to say?
Well, if we include that last sentence of that one there, the
faith is being extinguished in many souls, and hearts are being grasped by material things of the world.
And I think this is the comparison, like with the opening sentence there about there's battle, hatred, personal interests, and selfishness, right? As opposed to His Son, His word, His love. All of these things that we're dealing with there have to do with the material world.
Yeah.
Right? None of them will satisfy. So we have to keep clasping for these sorts of different things. It's like that those people that say, oh, you know, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm, you know, 25 or something. And they get there, but they're still in this headlong search for more, because it's not satisfying. We look at this thing.
So true. Yeah.
Last year, beginning of last year, maybe even the year before, I was looking up, you know, the world's richest people, and I was wondering how many billionaires are there. And I was surprised. It's like 238, I think it was, billionaires. What are they going to do with all that money? But they are still pursuing, for all they're worth, more and more and more and more. It's not satisfying. This is an incomparable amount of money. They can work. They could stop working and spend money for the rest of their lives and not spend enough to, as what they say at one stage there, that Bill Gates was capable of living and spending his current spending expenditure and still not affect the interest that he's getting on the money that he's got. And that's why we have this battle, this hatred, this personal interest. It's not so much the quest, but it's the lack of satisfaction. There's no peace there, because they're constantly pursuing it. The material world is blinding them and is creating a fog, as you were, in their soul and their mind, so that they can't see clearly that this isn't satisfying. You know, it's a bit like, you know, when you'd been saying at one stage there about, you know, children eating junk food, right? They think it's food, but they just keep eating it. They just keep eating it. They just keep eating it, and then we end up with all of these problems.
Exactly. We have to go to break now, but I'll continue on that because I think that's a good topic. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
Do you currently have a community service announcement on free-to-air television? If you do, you can now submit it to us as well via our website at MELfeed.video. We have lots of time to fill on these broadcasts, and we are sure to give your announcement a great run on MELfeed.video.
Australian women need to kiss more. Watch out for persistent and unusual symptoms, as they could be a sign of ovarian cancer. Know the important signs and symptoms. Kiss. Look out for symptoms like abdominal or back pain, difficulty eating or feeling full quickly, or persistent bloating, or a change in toilet habits. If you're experiencing persistent and unusual symptoms for more than 14 days, see a GP. Make sure you kiss regularly.
Transports of Distant Delight is a mixed selection of transportation pictures from here and there and almost everywhere, but not quite. Some quirky, some mundane, some from the past, perhaps reflecting a transit system that has vanished into history, and some from thriving transport entities that continue to endure despite the constant pressures from the all-pervasive motor car. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich and our guest is Father Eugene Ashker, if you've just joined us, and we're discussing Our Lady Queen of Peace's message from January the 2nd, 2019, if you want to look it up to be with us. Anyway, Our Lady said, "But my motherly heart knows that there are still those who believe and love, who are seeking how to draw all the closer to my Son, who are tirelessly seeking my Son. Then in this way they are also seeking me." So it's nice that she's put a contrast on it, because people who want more and more and more and more, they don't get any happiness, they don't get the satisfaction they're looking for. But if they turn it the other way around...
Yeah. The other encouraging thing about this is that, as she keeps saying, those who are seeking my Son, those who are seeking to come closer, those that are seeking this are also in a way seeking me, etc. It doesn't mean that because you have not attained it, that you're a failure. Right? The quest is the seeking.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're dealing with an infinite God, as we seek, we are finding more and more and more, and it is satisfying. You know, it's one of those it's one of those best chocolates, so to speak. I love my chocolate, right? So I have to be very careful about how much I eat. But I went over to New Zealand in 1980, and I tried their caramello. And I was always keeping my eye open when we went past the place. I'd get another family block, so I'd be eating one, and I'd still have a fresh one sitting in my bag. And I think I gained about 18 pounds in about 2 weeks. So what's that 14 pounds a stone. So yeah, so I gained about 7 or 8 kilos.
Yeah.
Just I think on the caramello chocolate. You know, always keeping an eye open for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
This is the same thing with the Lord. In our seeking for Him, we will never fully attain Him. But in the seek, we are satisfied as long as we keep seeking, because we start seeing His touch, His presence all around us in so many different ways. And of course, Our Lady, with all of these messages, is pointing to her Son. So when you start going for her Son, when you start seeking her Son, naturally you are going to find her as well, because she's there to help guide you and to lead you. And so yes, you are also seeking her, because she's the seat of wisdom.
Yeah.
And
that's beautiful.
And seeking to know God, you are seeking her to explain Him and to unravel Him more and to enlighten you.
Yeah, and she teaches us that. But don't go buying lots of chocolate. You might be encouraging more to eat lots of... I know someone just recently who lost 7 or 8 kilos going on a raw vegan diet. Like going back on God's food in the beginning of Genesis 1:29, fruit and veggies. Yeah, so that was another man who was saying he'd lost that much. I was thinking, that's good, getting healthy. But anyway... That's another topic altogether, but then it's all related. It's all God's food. Our Lady said, "These are the humble and the meek, with their pain and suffering, which they carry in silence, with their hopes, and above all with their faith. These are apostles of my love." Because sometimes you do see people that they just keep loving and giving and loving and giving, and they're not being treated correctly or nicely or with respect, but they still keep doing that.
And it's usually the people that you think would be bad, you would expect to perhaps be bitter, to be, angry about different things. And, they say that the most generous people are the ones who have the least to give. Right? And this is the same sort of thing. Those that have the most love to give are the ones who have been...
treated badly, or
have been treated badly. They're the ones that are giving of their things there, because they know what it's like to be without.
Yeah.
So they're without comfort. So they love and comfort others. They suffer. They can see. They know what these other people are suffering. So they love those, and they're there to support those who are suffering, because they've been there, they've done that, or they are still doing it, and they know what other people need. And they draw from their own experience, and they become great instruments of love. And I think that's where a disciple is one who follows. An apostle is one who is sent. And so even in allowing us to have suffering, the Lord is still sending us to be these instruments of love. We are becoming apostles of love, so that when we have difficulties, we can say, we share this with the other person. We know, we have some idea as to what you're going through, and therefore we're there to support you and to be with you.
It's amazing. It just made me think about, you know, suffering, and I was thinking of my mum, because she died, but she had 8 children, and she, you know, she had a difficult life as well. And I remember when she died, we were all around the bed holding her hand and everything, and her face lit up like she was seeing Mary, like she was seeing Jesus. And I'm thinking, it's all, like, in the end, it's all worthwhile. Like, she would have just gone to heaven, I imagine, just by watching her. Like, I was this far away from her, and I just called out, "I love you." And my friend said to me, that was the last voice she heard, you know, as she was going, and her face lit up like a jewel when she took her last breath. Like, it was just joy. And I think, you know, and there's a lot of suffering in her life, and you know, in the end it pays off.
Oh, it does. It's a staggering experience. I had a fellow who was dying of cancer, and we took communion to him, and he was very weak and everything else. And we gave him communion, and he just went, lifted his arms and remained motionless. We thought, for 10 minutes. We thought, and there's 2 priests present, you know, myself and this other, and we just thought, he's sort of like gone into an ecstasy.
Wow.
Just in the midst of all of this agony and all of this suffering, at this moment he's been able to unite himself with the suffering Christ. And
was that when he died?
I never heard a complaining. Pardon?
Was that in the moment that he died?
No. It was shortly before he did. But this was his last communion.
Yeah.
But because we thought, while he still can, while he's still able to.
Yeah. That's beautiful. We have to go to a break now. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
Each week on MELfeed Video, join us for the Northern Access Television's general interest chat show, NAT Chat. Each episode features interesting and informative interviews from people of all walks of life. Weekly topics include community groups, religious topics, and professional people covering many different subject areas. That's NAT Chat every Monday night at 8 p.m. here on MELfeed Video.
It's barbie season, so it's time for a barbecue safety check. Clean away any grease build-up. Swap systems assure that the bottle inspection is in date. The bottle should be upright and not hanging by the hose. And make sure your regulator and hose is undamaged, unblocked and unkinked. Check connections using soapy water. When done, turn off clockwise at the bottle first. A quick barbie and gas safety check always means a safe and enjoyable summer.
Most of us experience life's ups and downs, but we can always appreciate the finer details that make life worth living. But for 1 in 5 of us, mental illness can make us lose sight of the big picture. That's when Paran Mission can lend a helping hand. We've been caring for the community for over 60 years, finding a place for people with no place. Show your support and stand up for mental illness. Visit our website and make a donation today.
Here is some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading a newspaper or phone bill, or writing letters and emails. It can be easier to improve your reading and writing skills than to keep putting it off. Take the plunge. Call the Reading Writing Hotline, 1300 655 06.
1300 655 06.
It could change your life.
Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and if you've just joined us, we're here with Father Eugene Ashka, who's a Catholic priest in Victoria, and we're discussing Our Lady Queen of Peace's message from January the 2nd, 2019, if you'd like to look it up on the internet. Thank you. Welcome back to the program, Father.
Thank you.
I'll continue with the message Our Lady said. So we'll start with, my children, apostles of my love, I am teaching you that my son is not only asking for continuous prayers, but also for works and feelings, that you believe, that you pray, that with your personal prayers you grow in faith, that you grow in love. To love each other is what he asks for. That is the way to eternal life.
Yes, well, God is love. So obviously that is the path to eternal life. But it's one thing. It says he's not only asking for continuous prayer, but he's asking for action, right? And empathy, these feelings, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about that you have all of these warm, fuzzy feelings about God, right? But it's have feelings for this other person, to have this empathy for the other person, and to understand that they are probably in a position of suffering too, or in difficulty, or in confusion, or whatever it is like that. So our actions are the first sign to them that we love them, that their well-being is a priority to us, because it's one thing to sort of say, we'll pray for you. All right? They go, yeah, but I'm starving.
Yeah,
okay. So it's that physical activity that says, I'm willing to put myself out for you.
Yeah.
And to motivate it by feeling for this other person. And then to say, not only will I do that, but this physical world, this support that we have in the physical world, there's a spiritual as well, and I will pray for you as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's this combination of all three that actually gives us that true apostleship of love, of being those ones who are gone out and to not only love with prayer, not only love with our feelings, but to love in action. That these people can say, I know I'm loved. I've experienced this.
Yeah.
So when they're saying they're praying for me, I also know that spiritually I am loved.
And also like Pope John Paul II, when he went to visit the man in jail who shot him. He tried to kill him, and then he went to love him in jail.
Yes.
Reach out to someone who tried to kill him.
That's right. Yeah, this fellow's just, the look on his face, that he's come to visit me, and like, this is an extraordinary experience that the very person I tried to kill has come to talk to me. And
that's a saint, and he's a saint now. Our Lady said, my children, do not forget that my son brought the light to this world, and he brought it to those who wanted to see it and receive it. You be those, because this is the light of truth, peace and love.
Yeah, look, scripturally, it says those that want to commit sin want to live in the dark because they don't want it brought out into the light. The truth brings things out into the light. So Christ brings these things, brings light to the world. We have to be prepared to accept it and to allow it to shine in us and to shine through us. And that's a challenge, and that's where when you look across the messages across time, where it says to trust him and to do these sort of things like that, this is where this comes in, because when we are enlightened by the truth, we see things as they are. We get to see the material world, like with the first part of that message. We get to see the material world for its temporary, for its short term, for its distraction. It takes the fog away. It allows us to see things as they are in the eyes of God and how it will affect our eternity.
I remember once, I think the Pope recently said, I read something on the internet, this is what I thought he said, if someone asks you for money, like a beggar asks you for money, give them the money. Now, don't worry about what they're going to spend it on, just give it to them. That's what I thought I read. I don't know if that's correct or not. But I remember years ago I was at the church and this man asked me for money, and he was quite a large man and I said I didn't have any money on me because I just had the card, my Visa card or whatever, so everything's on card. And I said, look, but I've got a box of mandarins in my car if you'd like to have them, or have half of the box, you know, because I just went to the back of Smash or whatever and went picking mandarins. Anyway, and he said, oh no, I don't like mandarins. And I was thinking I was giving him food because he said he wanted it for food because he was hungry. So what do you do in a situation like that?
Well, this is where St. Vincent de Paul says, you know, we're there to give, you know, a hand, right? And we don't judge.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is that one day they will really be in need. And we could fall into the trap of like cry wolf.
Yeah.
If we're not there for them when they are in need,
yeah.
Well, even when they're not really that much in need and things there. Yeah, we have to be prudent, I suppose, to a certain degree. But what judgment are we making when we're not offering them some sort of assistance?
Yeah, at least offer
so it doesn't
something.
necessarily mean money.
Yeah. All right, I think we're getting close to the break.
Okay.
But I'll just finish the last bit. Our lady said, I am leading you in a motherly way to adore my son, that you love my son with me, that your thoughts, words and actions may be directed to my son, that they may be in his name. Then my heart will be fulfilled. Thank you. So we have to, yeah.
Every mother wants their kids to get on, don't they?
That's it, yeah.
You know.
I have to go now. Thank you so much, Father, for coming on the program.
A pleasure.
You've been watching Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and our guest was Father Eugene Ashker. Hope you enjoyed the program, and may God bless you with health, happiness, joy and peace, now and forever. Bye for now.
Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be much breath of the Spirit blowing in me.
Multi-faith and interfaith is all part of harmony in diversity. Every Monday night at 9. Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
I've just pulled up in my Viper because we're here for a launch of the Chrysler Jeep. And I tell you what, I'd rather have one of these. Let's check it out. Kicking off, and I want to know a bit of history.
Yeah, well, what sort of history?
Well, when the Jeep come out?
Well, okay, it officially returned to Australia in 1994.
So where did it go before then? Just disappeared?
Well, yeah, pretty much so. It was a private distributor, I suppose, in simple terms, that were bringing the Jeep product out to the country, but then Chrysler took it over and did it the right way.
So do they remodel the look as well, or?
Yeah, the look's obviously been changing over the years from its early days that we you probably remember the Jeep in its basic form to where it is today. Style of car here.
And the Jeep started back 60 years ago, and it was originally designed for the army.
That's right, exactly. And we all know the Jeep that was in the army, the little green thing.
A little green thing, MASH, all that.
That's right. We used to watch.
And look where we are today.
Different car altogether.
Very different.
Very different.
As you can see, the park inspector's already been here, so better move it before he gets a ticket. Those bloody park inspectors, they're everywhere, even in showroom floors, mind you. Yeah, what's going on? It's a bit of hamburger eating. Oh, the boy's hanging around. What do you reckon?
Yeah, alright.
Alright? It's got to be better than alright. You can use this off-road, on-road.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you want to drive?
What I want to drive is a Dodge over there.
Oh, yeah. We all want that beautiful... Is it the colour or is it the car?
That's the car.
Bit of a chick magnet?
Oh, yeah. What do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know. Get in, see.
Nah.
See if you attract any. No, I don't think there's many chicks here tonight.
Yeah, true.
You're bummed out. What'd you do?
I just said that I wouldn't be able to have this car because then when I put gas in, I wouldn't be able to close it again.
But you would probably never put gas in a car anyway, would you?
Of course I would.
You would? You actually do that? You know how to do that?
Please.
You're a woman. How do you know how to do this? Don't you get a guy to do it?
You stand square.
Yeah.
Here's my knee.
Oh, okay. Ready? Go. Oh! She knows how to do that well. I don't know.
I did it.
You broke it.
I fixed it.
You fixed it. So you got the knack now. You can have the car.
I can have the car.
You want it?
I want it.
You can have it. It's yours.
Cool.
Absolutely yours.
That's right. Where's the keys?
Out of all the cars, what do you like the best? This one, obviously? Yeah. Why?
All the curves.
The curves.
The curves.
You sure you're not a guy? Honestly.
Because I can put gas in a car and I like the
Yeah,
curves.
you can get gas and you like the curves, and it's a car, it's a chick magnet, so I'm starting to get a bit worried, you know?
You don't think if a chick drove this car, it'd be a
You'd be a babe.
you
would be a
You're
babe.
going to tell me that there's no guy that'd be going...
No, they'd be so afraid of you, they'd be running.
Please.
You see?
Please.
What is that? What? Okay, you tell me. When you see a guy in a really nice car, what's the attraction? What's with
His
that?
really good hair.
His hair?
Yeah, it's got to be the hair.
Do you want to
Is it
actually,
proud?
do you want to do a bit
I don't
of
want to
petrol
do it
sniffing?
again. No.
Come on, we'll go for a sniff.
I can't get high in front of all these people.
Yeah, we can. Well, we're enjoying this evening. Now I'm here with Theo. Now tell me, what do you know about these cars?
Have a look at it. It's so well polished.
There's actually a bit of a star here tonight. It's Eddie. How you going? Eddie Maguire. I mean, you're great in that show. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? How's it going? Did you get any money yourself?
Well, it's just another week in football.
Another week in football. I mean, what's going on? Give me a football tip then.
Carlton president.
Oh yeah.
What do you reckon? Will he last the season?
Oh, I hope so. What do you reckon?
Who do you follow?
I don't. AFL? Is that right? Are we on the right track?
VRL.
VOL?
Rugby league.
No, I'm following cars. I'm rooting for cars
Oh,
here.
cars.
Yeah, get a tip with a car.
Okay.
You gonna give one away?
Mate, get on board.
Yeah.
Here you go, the Wrangler right behind you.
Well, when a guy's got to go, you've got to go. Now we're going to check out the Voyager. They say it's smooth on the road. We'll see how this one works. Get in and you strap it up. Okay, beam me up, Scotty. Hey, this is great. What's going on here?
What do you mean, what's going on?
I don't even know how I got here. What's going on here tonight?
I don't know how I got here, but the fact is, like, cute people, and
Well, since I'm here, I might as well find out what's going on. Wow. What are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
You a fashionable girl?
Oh, I like to think I am.
Yeah, so you're here for the fashion show?
Yes, I am. We're from Marie's Fashion. We're the makeup artists for it.
Oh, are you?
Yes, we are.
So what's the look for tonight?
A bit vampish, a bit smoky, kind of sexy.
Oh, the old classic smoky eye. That's like, you know, on heroin for about a week look, yeah?
No. It's not. We've moved on from that.
Oh, not the drug look. Okay. Well, we'll check out the fashion show. I think I like this event. I'm going to go. I might go back to the Voyager later, go back to the other show, but we'll check it out here. I better go back to the Jeep, so beat me up, Scotty. Oh my God, I'm back here again. This is a bit of a time warp. Well, since I'm here, I better check out what's going on. I love this Voyager thing. It's great. Sell me a car.
Well,
how hard is it to sell a car?
If I was going to sell you a car, this would be the car I'd sell you, because you have that rugged sort of, not cheap, the rugged sort of look, you know, the outdoors type. I think this would suit you down to the ground.
I'm not the Viper.
The Viper, no, that's
Cool,
not good.
slick. Why? Oh, so when you get a customer coming in, do you look at them and think they look like this type of person? Can you tell?
Sometimes you try and think, has this person got $250,000 to spend?
That's true.
Okay, sometimes they haven't, sometimes they have.
They want to be that, but really they're this.
Champagne with beer money.
So what are you selling? The features?
We're selling somebody, the people, what they want, really.
The dream.
Well, sometimes the dream, sometimes what they really want, and then we show them what they think they want to do with, you know. It's
what do I want? Tell me what I want.
You want to sort of enjoy yourself, the open air sort of air. That's right, the rush of air through the air.
What's left of it.
That's it. And just enjoy yourself. These things with a top down, country road, four-wheel drive, fantastic.
One more. That's all I need. One more. Oh, I think it's when you put the handle down it works. Take me away, Scotty. Here, I'm actually liking. I'm doing a bit of a time warp at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One minute I'm at a Cherokee Jeep thing, and now I'm at a fashion show. What's going on here? I think it's happening it's going off here.
Oh, really?
What are you on? Are you drunk?
Champagne.
Champagne. The champagne is flowing here.
Champagne. What is this?
This is fun.
This is fun. This is
fun.
very fun.
I don't get it. There's another two lovely, gorgeous girls standing here, and you got these guys here. And what's going on?
I'm taken.
You're taken as well. Where's the married finger?
No, I'm not married.
Well, then how can you be taken?
We're boyfriends.
It's still open game then, I'm afraid.
No, I don't work that way.
No. Where's your boyfriend?
He's at home.
That's a very good relationship.
Yeah, well, he's not into fashion.
Oh, isn't he?
No.
And you are fashionable?
Oh, it's interesting.
What do you like about fashion?
It's good to see what designs they've got out there at the moment. And
do you like cars?
Do I like cars?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Not into cars? What about you? Into cars? What's your favourite car?
Ford.
No, you got to say You got to say the Jeep Jericho, the Wrangler.
That's good taste. You got good taste.
Oh, the Wrangler's good.
No, the Jeep, the other
Jeep,
one. Yep.
Cherokee.
It's a
Oh,
very
you
nice-
like the Cherokee Jeep?
I just bought a little 4-wheel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we're sort of tripping back and forth from here. We're going to the Jeep Jericho showroom. I've been beamed back and forth. Now you got to tell me about this launch.
All right. Well, this is a new City Chrysler Jeep facility. New location. We think it's going to be a much more customer-oriented location. Easy parking, large facility.
What about the competition down this strip? I mean, there's so many car places on this road.
The competition's good.
Good.
Yeah, it is. The competition's good. I mean, we really believe that if a person comes in, they're a serious vehicle buyer.
Yep.
Go drive the competition, come drive ours. We believe they'll drive away in one of ours. We're definitely not the cheapest, but we believe that our product is fantastic. And we are the 5th largest automotive company in the world. Many people don't realize that. We sell over 4 million vehicles a year.
Wow.
Chrysler division, or the Chrysler Group is what we're called. We sell 2.7 million vehicles a year. So we're really large. We just are not...
So you got a big pay packet then, yeah?
Well, I don't know if I would say that. It's never enough, right?
Never enough.
But we're growing here in Australia.
Yeah. So where do you see the future then of these sort of like the Cherokee, the Voyager and all the other cars?
Oh, I think it's really terrific. I mean, what's going to happen is in the future we'll expand the Jeep lineup and we'll expand the Chrysler lineup. So you'll see another variation of the Cherokee that's launching in September. It's called the Renegade.
Oh, well, we'll come to that launch. Well, thank you so much. You've got to get up on the box and do a bit of a spreaking. Enjoy. Thanks. Well, the Lotus Bar's that way, and we're going to get to the makeup, which is Napoleon. So we're going to walk down Toorak Road. You might see a model or two passing by. And we're going to check out the makeup and see the look and talk to everybody. They're doing the hair in here. Here we are, Napoleon. Oh, smells good. Come in, and we'll have a look around. Oh, look at this. Going for the blow wave look, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Now,
crimping as well.
Bit of crimping.
Of course.
Now, that's never going to die, is it? It's sort of coming back in.
That's right, it is coming back in.
Who are we blaming for that one?
Cusco Murphy.
Cusco, oh, you're blaming your own salon. That's right. It's probably not a wise move. So, how many heads of hair you been doing today?
Just started about half an hour ago. And I think we've got to get through about 8 girls tonight. 8 girls. Including about 4 boys.
What's the technique here? I notice you're pulling quite hard. I mean, you're spraining the poor model's neck. I can feel it. The tension in here. What's the difference between a good blow job, blow wave, and a bad one?
It's all in the wrist.
All in the wrist. Okay. So when starting a makeup process, you start up with the foundation first, or you start on eyes, or?
So use foundation just to get the skin tone even, and just do the eyes, basically, and then you start with the...
Is that the normal process? Just always foundation, then eyes, then lips? Yeah.
Foundation, yep.
Is it hard to talk while she's doing your lips?
What do you think?
Oh, there you go. Very good. Have you noticed? Oh, thanks. Section, male getting done. I thought guys didn't do makeup. They do. So all this time is a bit of a myth. Yeah. So what are we doing? Shitloads or what? You know? How much are you covering him up? Filling in all those holes and pits?
I'm actually a woman.
Great job! Great job, I must admit. Yeah. I mean, what are the difficulties with dyes in general?
Actually, none. It's way easier than ladies.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
You make it look more natural. If you don't want them going out there looking like a drag queen.
Yeah, that's true.
And you sort of highlight their natural features and give them a bit of glow.
What about stubble and all that sort of stuff? I notice he hasn't shaved and I can see it sort of popping through there. But
it's alright with him because he's fair skin. Yeah.
But otherwise you'd tell him to shave.
Yeah, so give him a slap.
Collaborate is the label, and I've got the designers here. How did you guys get together? Met at uni. So uni students?
Yeah, we're both still at RMIT University. Shirley's doing third year, I'm in second.
So that's pretty big because you guys are still at school and you're launching a label and having a shop, is it?
Yeah.
And you're not even finished yet your training?
No, that's it. I mean, we've worked in this beforehand. We both worked for a couple of years.
How are you different from everything else that's out there?
Very, very serious question. How would you answer that?
I mean, that's the key. You have to be different.
That's our approach. We're not trying to rebel or make a statement in the way that we're not ignoring and we're not trying to rebel against any conventions there. We're just selectively inattentive to our approach. You know, we're not. To say is that tailoring is extremely important to us, the fit and the structure. It's not about whether it's going to last or not, because if it's a tailored garment, I mean, like what you're wearing now, you know, it's going to fit.
Is your clothes timeless? Would you say they're timeless?
We don't follow trends. Yeah. We don't follow fashions. We do our own thing. We're in our own world.
So where do you get it all from? If only you could unlock.
And a little bit from the pelvis.
Okay.
I'm in Melbourne. Melbourne's the place.
Melbourne's the place. Keep it in Melbourne.
We love Melbourne.
Melbourne proud. I like that very much. Well, thank you guys and good luck.
Thank you,
Great
man.
success. Will do. Now I've got to walk all the way back to Napoleon to try and find out more about makeup. I'm here with Trey. Now I want you to go through the whole colour thing, the whole colour palette. Tell me about Napoleon and why it is better than anything else.
Okay. Well, basically it's actually aimed at all ages. As you can see, all the colours are here. It's about glamour. Doesn't matter what age you are, 16 to 35, 95. It's all about colour.
So what sets you different from the other makeup companies that are out there? I mean, it's such a competitive market these days.
Yeah, well, have a look. It's all, like, whatever colour you want, it's all here. And everyone who works at Napoleon are all trained makeup artists as well. So, you know, you're getting professional makeup artists applying and also recommending the right product that suits you.
So for those young budding makeup artists, when they come, you do courses here at Napoleon as well?
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, all our makeup artists are working at the moment for the Lotus Fresh show, and they all came through our academy.
got a bit of a, like, we've got the lipstick section and we've got the foundation section. Tell us a bit about the foundation types. You've obviously got liquid.
We've got liquid, powder. With Napoleon, we have everything on show. Different type, doesn't matter what you want, we'll have it here.
And that's good for all types of skin. You cater for everybody, or?
Well, we cater for everybody. We have, as you can see, 4 liquids, powders, and also sticks, everything, yeah.
So what's good? I mean, what should a person use a liquid instead of say a stick or a powder? What's the difference?
Well, if you're a woman, you would know that depending what...
Not a woman, so that's why I'm asking.
Right, yeah, exactly. Depending what you like. I mean, some ladies like a stick because it's actually it's easier.
Take away in the bag, all that.
You go, that's right.
It'll do the same thing.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Sometimes they want like a bit more dewy look. If the skin's a bit dry, the dewy look will be the best.
I like this one, which is you've got that there, yeah. Now it's got a multi-coloured factor on there, but you wipe the whole brush on the whole lot. How does that work?
Okay, that's what we call a bronzer.
Yeah.
You mix it all up so you don't just get an orange colour. Okay. So these are all different colours because your skin is not one shade, it's all different shades.
So can you go like this section or that section?
For example, if you want to go darker, you use the darker side. If you want to go a bit lighter, you can use that. And also, fantastic if you want like a travelling kit, eyeshadows.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I thought of everything here. Of a model, isn't it, really? Just a lot of waiting around. And honey.
Yeah, back massage,
you want one? I'm offering. Don't turn me down. Oh, okay. Do you ever, as a model, do you ever get self-conscious when you look at all the other girls and you go, oh God, isn't she pretty?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah? Is that the bad thing about modelling? Do you all look at each other and check each other out and go, oh, where'd you get those set of breasts from and stuff like that?
Oh, you're too busy doing stuff, so you don't really check it out.
Oh, so you don't change doctors and surgeons' numbers either? No. Oh, there you go. This is the look.
Yeah, you're just jealous because your
Let me
hair won't do anything.
I tried it, but did you have long hair?
It looks like you gave it a go, but you just don't have the hair to pull it off.
Does your agency do you get in trouble if you cut your hair too mad? The guidelines that your agency must say?
You don't get in trouble, but you just
don't get any work.
Don't get any work, yeah, so you don't want to do it yourself. But you have to kind of call the agency before you get your hair cut. And then
before you do anything?
Not before you do anything, but if you want to do something drastic to your hair, the hairdresser has to talk to the agency and they'll discuss it.
You don't have any freedom really, do you? You have to call before you leave the house just to say I'm out, No.
Not like that at all. If you want to do something drastic, you need to call and make sure it's okay. But that's just because you are working and you're professional models, so you need to be professional about it. And if you want to keep getting work, then you have to make sure that you are the kind of person who's going to get work. So
sounds too professional.
My hair, I wouldn't get
Would you want to do something mad?
No, because then I wouldn't get any work and that would be bad for me.
Yeah, but you'd look great.
Not necessarily.
Could go wrong.
current situation with Channel 31 right now?
Yeah, so at the moment we're scheduled to switch off our terrestrial broadcast on the 30th of June. So that means that all of the TV signals that we send out over the air, so the things that you can pick up on an aerial at home or on your camper van or wherever you watch TV, that will be switched off.
Yeah, and what's to happen with the broadcast spectrum?
Currently, nothing. That's one of our main kind of questions that have come up throughout this whole process. For a bit of background, in 2014, the Minister of Communications, who was then Malcolm Turnbull, announced that he wanted us to, move from using spectrum and broadcasting over the air to moving online instead, which is fine and all good in theory. So that was for the development of new broadcasting technologies such as DVB-T2 and MPEG-4, so that they could test that out in like a production style environment to make sure that it would actually work for viewers at home. Obviously, it's been 6 years since then, and a lot of those technologies have already been tested and some implemented. For instance, Channel 10, 9 and 7 are all using MPEG-4 for their secondary and third channels in their multiplex. And DVB-T2 has been announced that it's more than likely not going to happen for quite a while yet. So that kind of leaves us with this question of what actually is going to happen. And so far, we haven't received an answer. After speaking with other industry bodies and people in the know, it currently looks like nothing at all. This is mainly just them holding a decision from 2014 that really has no purpose to be held at this point.
Paul Fletcher, the current Minister for Communications, has he actually said anything except for, I think, a couple of statements in the past few months? Has he actually said anything and spoken to the stations?
No, we actually are yet to have a conversation with the Minister himself. We have been speaking with his advisors and the Department of Communications and the Arts, etc. itself, but we haven't spoken with him. At the moment, they're all holding the party line, which is that we've been given 6 years to switch off, that they need the spectrum for testing of future technologies, and that we have received some funding to go towards that, despite the intricacies behind all of that.
Yeah, and as you were saying before, with online broadcasting, do you believe it's just really not the same as broadcasting over the air?
Well, it has its benefits and its problems. Broadcasting online is brilliant. You would know. It lets you engage with hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. You don't have to worry about expensive transmitters, really in-depth technical specifications to get yourself on air. You can just build something out and focus on the content rather than the technical side of things. But the reality is that with that, you're also competing with hundreds of thousands of other people trying to do the same thing, which is fine if your product or your content is viewed by the masses. So say you're making fishing shows or cooking shows or things like that you're publishing online to YouTube. It's when you're doing things like local news, local multicultural programs, any kind of coverage of live events, which is kind of our bread and butter these days, that all gets lost in the big just echo of broadcasting online.
Why in your mind, apart from, you're talking about local news and stuff that's really only relevant to areas in Melbourne and Victoria, why do you, in your mind, do you believe Channel 31 is so important to this community?
I mean, its history is astounding. It's been broadcasting now for nearly 26 years, and, broadcast tests happening far before that. I think it goes back to nearly 30 years ago. The impact that it's had on the cultural development of Melbourne is next to, nothing else has been equal in it, from a broadcast or content perspective at least. This Channel 31 offered a platform for LGBTIQ plus peoples when that wasn't the done thing. It's provided a platform for multicultural communities, a lot of whom may be elderly and may not have access to online broadcasting or fast internet to be able to access that content themselves. It's really, the thing is that it just makes no sense. It's a vital platform that really, it services a community or a set of communities that no one else does. And there is no reason given to switch it off. So why would you take that away, especially now when people are so much more isolated than ever before?
All right, and finally, what can everyone at home do to help try to save Channel 31?
So the best thing you can do is to send a letter to your local member for parliament. You can also make sure to keep amplifying all of our social messaging to try and get the message across to him directly. But the greatest way to make an impact is to sign the petition, which is available on our website and on our Facebook page, and to send a letter to your local MP.
All right, then, Mitchell Kalika, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Leonardo.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV. The following program contains an MA classification and may contain adult themes and coarse language. MELfeed.video advises that it is suitable for viewers aged 15 plus.
There's a kid out the front of Coles. He's about 20 years old and he's got a smooth new maiden, but he doesn't hold it like the other kids do, strangling its neck and shoving his groin into the back. Not this kid. He holds it softly, sweetly, with tenderness but ownership like our mothers did. And he looks me in the eyes as he sings the words, "Sweetheart," and I give him $2 and about a quarter of my soul. See, I've got this problem that turns me into like a creativity hussy, that when I see someone like this sweet kid busking, I want to hold out my soul like a precious hunk of gold beaming, "Look, me too." And I want to know them. I want to collaborate. I want to sit them down and show them everything I've ever made, and I want them to like me. I want their respect. So it makes things like slam kind of hard, because while I'm watching you, while I'm taking in your words, it's all making my brain just a little bit erect. So excuse me if I throw myself upon you after your set. It comes from whatever place made me leave my soul in a guitar case with $2 and a busker at the front of Q Coles. Thanks.
Hi, a fresh poem. Make it a happy one. Give me a subject and I'll make up a poem about it. Astronauts, what a lovely idea. Astronauts got there first, sorry. Astronauts, wow, I see them. Way up there, no, it's me. Why can't it be? It's my fantasy. The tinkling stars in my head as I lie in my bed. I see myself. Me, it's not. Oh, up in space must be so hot. Ah, those men. Up near the stars. Oh, and I'm looking through bars. Oh, the adventures they have there. Oh, why is it not me then? Oh, hold my hand. Take me to some land. I know it won't be H.G. Wells's moon, but maybe I'll get there soon. Oh, you can't get to Jupiter. I can see that. But it's not me. I'm going to crack a fat. It's never me. That exhilaration. Oh, I didn't grow up in America. It's in my imagination. Oh.
This is just a little one. It's called Aurora, and for those of you who don't know what the Aurora Borealis is, it's sort of like an atmospheric occurrence where the night sky lights up like a rainbow. Aurora, you are my Aurora Borealis, mysteriously wonderful and mesmerizing. I am aglow with you, The skies under my eyelids are technicolor dreams. Your first touch as I stood in the gallery, gazing past the glass at the glazed wares of yesteryear, still has not left me, and somehow, I suspect, it never will. You have altered me profoundly, lifted me into that magical dark sky and played a symphony across my soul. I anxiously await sleep in order to float willfully over to you, to rest next to your warm flesh, to feel the aurora play out inside me. Your kisses in the rain under the green-lit canopy of elms still play upon my lips. Bicycle bells rang past us, but our embrace was oblivious to the giggles of passers-by. On that spot, at that moment, were only you and I and the blossoming of a future.
Dressed in red, empty pockets on a renegade. Lonely horse to be fed, sugar pops and lemonade. Stories of the old, they filter through. I walk like a ghost that was before me. And all the simple truths, will they lay down, lay down, lay down, lay down. Oh, no, no. Now, hey, now, dangerous. Can't you see we understand? Now why so reckless? Why so, yeah. We did it for, yeah. Gonna tell you for the next time. When it on it's on and on, but it's ain't anything on. Dream on, stranger. Now walk the streets alone. I know you tread through danger, but it's the only way, it's the only way, it's the only way back home. Now here, now dangerous. Can't you see we understand? Whoa. Now why so reckless?
Just needs a bit of discipline. Can I help you with your bags? Thank you.
Autism. Change your reactions, change your actions.
The tax office can take money directly out of people's accounts, but you're not allowed to know. The elderly are being abused and neglected in nursing homes, but you're not allowed to know. The government can raid journalists for reporting the truth if it says you're not allowed to know. It couldn't happen in Australia. It's happening now. When the government hides the truth from you, what are they covering up? Authorised by Australia's Right to Know, Sydney.
After over 25 years of broadcasting into homes across Australia, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, intends to switch off community television stations by June 30 this year. Community television provides an open access, free-to-air platform for Australians to connect, to learn, to educate, to express themselves, and showcases our diverse and vibrant local communities. But on July 1, it will be gone from the airways forever. Instead, it will be replaced by up to 5 years of white noise. The federal government has no alternative planned use for the spectrum community TV occupies and will be unable to do anything in its place for years to come. There is no upside and no explanation. We ask Minister Fletcher to show his support for the remaining stations and to keep local TV on TV. For more information, email info@c31.org.au.
Unshed tears crystallise into ice walls around a warm and limitless heart, constricting a pulsating life, vast and oceanic, limitless and grand. Unshed tears desert the green lands of vital life, the walking dead slain within, blazing the same trail of scorched dead ends. Unshed tears with nowhere to go. They poison love's reaching, and no one can know who you are behind your heart's frozen face. Unshed tears with no grace. Unshed tears that don't become a knife in your heart that dulls its beat. Love cannot burn. Passion is repressed. Your soul is in strife. But unshed tears that trickle down your face, they sparkle with life and your purposed place. Once damned psyche now cries so bright. You vivify the once denied and you walk in the light. Unshed tears that find their way, bring you to you with compassioned embrace. You then touch the fire, you then live the flame. Truly impassioned, you have heavenly gained. Thank you.
Excuse me while I sit in the corner and scream. It just seems to me the whole fracking world's forgotten how to dream. Even our good guys are mean. Our poets are just letting off steam. Our artists are chasing the buck. Our musicians are trying to have a good time while earning a dime and spending it on a beer and not having a care, and I can't help but stare at the futility of it all. We can't even tear down the wall. It's been done already. And what good did it do, if only for a few? At least when it was there, we had something to fear that didn't shoot at us or blow us up. And protests were meaningful. At least the public took notice. These days, a street full of people is just another 5-second soundbite sandwiched between the grey men we follow like sheep on our TV screens. Just an excuse to provoke the police into beating some poor bastard up to get some good vision for the nightly news. And revolution still only means killing people in order to kill more people, as an excuse for killing more people. And the dead still stay dead, and the living die of AIDS or cancer or something even more nasty like apathy or economic collapse. And most people just find some excuse to either sign up for some sort of drug or other stimulus like money or power or sex or pain and death, and have run out of breath. So I think I'll just go and sit in the corner and scream.
Political correctness. I came to Australia, now I realize part of me disguised, was welcomed and accepted like a newborn child. Then the tide turned on me. You've got a lovely accent. Where are you from? Germany, I would say. Hitler, the answer shoots back. She's a nice German, leave her alone, a colleague once defended me. This confrontation became the norm, and I adopted a cautious demeanor. A few years ago, I was invited to a Jewish home when a guest asked me, "Do you believe in the Holocaust?" Slowly the truth was wrenched from my chest. "Yes," I said, and I hope we all learned from it. Then we commenced our meal with increasing harmony. Hitler, Nazi, Holocaust. I read the words daily in the paper, hear them on TV. When anger threatens to squash the shame, I keep thinking, political correctness, save me, now, please. I did not give in. After all, the words sprung innocently to people's mind, and I learned how effective the media can be. The people who nurtured me took their responsibility to the grave, so the words Holocaust, Nazi and Hitler stayed incarcerated in my mind. Until I opened the door, took charge to get a perspective by looking at them. You would not believe what happened next. I was asked with open interest about Germany. Do you still have family over there? What made you come out here? I feel it was to make a peace with the world and myself. Most people in Germany found salvation in work, to get on with their lives. You learn the facts in history, are shown the camps, so privately no one speaks of it. I guess I needed redemption of some kind. Yes, the sad, the hurt and the red beleaguered me lots of times. But let's not punish the words or the brave by expressing a truth. It allowed me to see behind the scene, view the unworthiness I already felt. Thanks to people's engaging kindness and freedom of speech, I can enjoy the foundation, my heritage now. By making me feel welcome, compassion was coaxed from my heart, and political correctness did not stand a chance. I set out with a positive belief, through tenacity and the respect of truth, the depression lifted and life became worth living again. Thank you.
Poverty lines don't exist, like the idea of remorse in the mind of a kid. Examine life in the harshest conditions, where our people are forced to live in storms where missiles fall from heavens. And kids don't catch infections. The truth is, they're bred with them. Because the only food to eat is the very reason we bleed. But still the common politician persists to measure possibility by digits. Because if it ain't profit to business, then it's no concern of the richest. While our communities burn in interest, peace proceeds to be convicted in courts. In times where greed's court decides what is right. But I see these demons in light, and the wickedest look of spite in their eyes when committing the wickedest crimes. From passing laws infringing freedom of mind, to paper trails they hide, leading to mass graves of genocide dug in the coldest of Palestinian nights. I mean, I'm ready to fight. Because they keep feeding the sheep lies, they believe until they die. Even blaming the youth for running riot. But they never stop to ask why, when they seen that we were crying. My whole life feels like I've been on trial, trying to prove my worth to this society so fucking deep in denial.
There's a difference between forgetting something once
and forgetting it many times. There's a difference between forgetfulness and dementia. Talk to someone who understands. Call the National Dementia Helpline on 1800 100 500.
William Tyrrell was abducted from his nana's home on the New South Wales mid-north coast on the 12th of September 2014. And somebody knows who did it. Do you? There is a $1 million reward for information that leads police to William. That's 1 million reasons to make the call. Contact Crime Stoppers now. 1800 333 000. Make the call.
Watch out! We're kinda tired of working all these silly jobs, We're gonna make some real money soon. I think so. We're gonna jump in a magic van and drive around the country. Oh! Probably light a little fire and lie beneath the moon. Oh! We're gonna work it out. Yeah! Loaded up with a song. Oh! We're gonna work it out. Me and my brothers, we got the music in our bones. That's what I'm talking about. Let me tell you. Oh, she's so sweet. And me, I'm so grateful that she's my kind of woman. Ooh, yeah. Why don't you take a walk with me down to the river? Oh, but then what you gonna do? Let's get naked like the day we were born. We're gonna work it out. Lady, something fun. We're gonna work it out. Insane and alone, and got the music in our bones now. Yeah. What are we gonna do? Gonna work it out. Me, I never know. I never went to it too. We're gonna work it out. On and say, Lord. We got the music. We got the music. Work it out. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got the music in our bones. Yeah. Oh, we're having a lot of fun down here at the beach. Good to see you folk. You see boys.
You know they all wanna be you. I know you got something to give that all you, but just gotta get out your smile and so horrible to you, baby darling, but you know, it's my own inner struggle, you know. Please don't take it personally. I see now the people are sweet. You know they all wanna meet you. I know you got something to give off that eye, but just gotta get out. Your smile is what keeps me alive. I wish that I could have known you when you are moving closer to me. I wanna know, can I let go? I wanna, really wanna know. Never love it
Thank you, everybody.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV. Streamed from Echuca each week, it's MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
They say there's a chance I could die in a car crash. Maybe even from heart disease. Maybe even skin cancer.
I could die in a work-related accident, or I could die in a fight.
The fact is, the biggest cause of death for men in my age group is suicide.
Please don't let this happen to me.
You can do something. Lifeline believes that suicide is mostly preventable. Help us save lives. Find out what you can do at lifeline.org.au.
MELfeed.video is about to close operations for tonight, but we'll be back with you next Monday evening. In the meantime, here is a selection of programs that will be seen on our next scheduled web stream. You're welcome to visit our website at MELfeed.video for further details of this project. Until next time, from all of us here at MELfeed.video, we wish you a very good night.